Guys, we've been pushing these lives out and these small businesses, and I'm very happy that I did it. I wake up every morning a little bit stressed out that I have something to do when I'm not supposed to be doing anything, not supposed to be working for a chance, but I can't do that. So I'm filming these videos, doing these podcasts, and I want to thank you guys so much for listening to them constantly. I'm getting tons of views now, and a lot of the locals are kind of pushing through. So thank you guys so much, and thank you for sharing this podcast as well. Of course, I am Jeramie, and this is Raw Focus, and I actually just started this about a month ago, but I'm slowly pushing these out. So depending on when you guys are listening to it, thank you for listening to it. And thanks for, if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to the studio. So guys, we're doing these 30-minute segments. This goes a little bit over, but this is Mark McKinnon that we're talking to. He owns Marked Studios in Reno, which is a tattoo shop, which is like kind of a different tattoo shop. Now, I will say that I do not go to Mark. I go to an amazing tattoo artist, Chris, who I love, and who has an amazing clean shop. He does everything legit as well. But this is for the masses here, and I like to find the uniqueness of everything. I will say, though, the reason I know about Mark's shop is because Chris was tattooing at Marked Studios for a time, and I actually got 2 of my tattoos worked on there, as well as my father-in-law. So I know the shop well, and that's actually how I think I kind of knew of Mark and met him. And then through social media, he has a very big voice, and he's very smart at what he says. So, but today's focus is just on the tattoo shop. So you're going to learn about the process of how tattoos are done. He does everything very techy. It takes about a month to get in. You send your stuff via email, via attachments, so you don't have to walk in, and you're going to know what you're going to get when you go to get it. His artists are all on payroll, meaning that he can match you up with somebody, and they're not fighting for the work to get paid. So you're going to get a legitimate tattoo artist, which is amazing. So in these small times, we have to make sure that we're taking care of our locals. Tattoo shops, I think, are always local, right? So, but finding a good spot is where to go. So let's join in the podcast here. Thank you guys so much for supporting this podcast. But let's get into it. Here is Mark McKinnon with Marked Studios. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Are you home?
I am.
Awesome. Is that a bird?
Yeah. Do you see a bird? Yeah.
I see a bird.
I didn't know if you could see him or not.
Yeah, no. Oh,
Hey,
my
buddy.
God. That's insane. Bird doesn't just fly away?
No, he's pretty good. He doesn't like to fly around. Let's go meet Jeramie. Come here.
Hi, bird.
Look at him. All our pets.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What kind of bird is that?
It's a hyacinth macaw.
And does it talk?
Yeah. They're pretty limited. They're the biggest of the macaws, and they're pretty limited in their vocabulary. But
Right.
He says, "Go potty, step up, hi." When we walk in from anywhere, he goes, "Hi."
Right. And when they say go potty, do they have to go potty, or are they just saying that?
He's mostly just repeating it, but about 70% of the time, when I put him like in his cage and
Right.
say go potty, he goes.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah.
That works. Yeah. Hi, Bernie.
Say hi. Can you say hi? No. You're shy, aren't you?
I was trying to show Yoshi, but Yoshi's not playing.
I'm used to it.
Huh?
I'm used to the shy.
Oh.
Dude, thanks so much for doing this, man.
Dude, thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been it's honestly, it's all just been kind of like a work in progress. I don't even know what's happening with it, what's going on, and once I start working again, like, do I get to keep this going or not? But what we're going to talk about today is Marked Studios.
Okay.
So we're doing the half-hour business thing, and then what I want to tell you is that if you ever want to get on and just chat about whatever, just shoot me a message and then we'll set it up. We can do like an hour podcast on anything. So we'll get our kind of minds meshed together and try to use this platform. I have a really good social media following, and then of course we just share everything to kind of push out. But before we get started, dude, how's everything going? I mean, I think I follow you when you're fighting waste management. You're super gracious on everything. I'm not as gracious when I lose shit. I'm just kind of like, no, it doesn't make sense. But you toured with them, you met with them. That's way more than I would have done. That's awesome.
Yeah, for some reason, like during that, it gained a lot of momentum and traction. I think just because there was a bunch of people feeling disenfranchised, and
right.
So when it came down to it, when I started to meet with the other side and meet with other people, it was like, man, I can remain friends here all the way around,
right?
And still fight the fight. Like I would still go in and the attorneys on the other side shake their hands. Obviously that can't happen anymore, but
right.
it was really cool to see everybody that I'm kind of against being cool about it. I'm gonna get some water quick.
Yeah, go for it. Take your time.
This is Jeramie. This is my wife, Christy.
How are you?
What's your name?
Christy.
Christy, nice to meet you. How are you?
Good. Hanging in there.
Yeah, I know. You guys, what do you do?
I'm a bookkeeper.
Okay, so are you self-employed as well?
Yeah, I work for Mark and Cuban.
Oh, sweet. Are you still working right now, or are you kind of just in our boat? Right.
Yeah, no, I'm working, but I work from home anyway. So nothing much.
You're just trying to get this guy out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like taking up all your space. No, that's the same way. Like our kids are at home. Like my office is in my garage. So I built like this office in here and I can come out and get away. But yeah, inside the house, I mean, my daughter's using my laptop and their iPad. So like all my stuff, even if I wanted to work inside, I'm like, you have my stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm stuck in here for a little bit. But yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. All right, buddy, we're going to get started. I know about your business, but the goal of this is that nobody does. And dude, you have 29,000 people on Facebook that like your page?
Yeah.
That's insane. Or is it just the tattoos? Or, I mean, are you pushing for that? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know how that really happened. I think from the get-go, when I started the Facebook page, it just kind of blew up because it was something different, and Mark Studios kind of made a splash on the scene because, our whole tagline was tattoo redefined, and we just treated it differently all the way through from the top to the bottom. So I don't know how it exploded. I mean, I ran ads, of course, like that, but it just shot up. I was like, ooh, man.
Dude, that's amazing. All right, hang tight for me real quick. I'm going to do a little intro. Hey guys, welcome back to Raw Focus. We're doing this via Facebook Live, and then of course it'll be on the podcast Raw Focus. You can find that anywhere you find your podcast. So I'm doing these little 30-minute business pushes, right? And we have some amazing local business. I live in Reno, so this is a Reno Sparks Tahoe kind of thing going on right now. We'll expand one day if we keep this going, but we're sick in the Corona times. It is April 28th, I believe, and we're still on lockdown. So what I decided to do is see if I can push some local businesses, some amazing people. And of course, we have Mark McKinnon of Marked Studios, which is a tattoo shop in Reno. You guys are off of, where are you? Moana. That's right. I've been there a couple times.
Yeah, with Chris Holloway.
Yeah, with Chris, and he still does all of my work. Nothing but good things to say to you. But one thing that I remember when I went in there was how, I hate to use the word clean because I feel like, Chris is really clean too, but like how clean and everything was, how new everything was, how silent the machines were. And so it was kind of a different vibe. But before we get into it, tell me about you, your business, and, is this your first tattoo shop here in Reno?
Yeah. So
when did it open?
I started it 7 years ago.
Awesome.
And, I guess to go on the backstory, I was tattooing out of my house, and it was, I had a good setup. You know, I had my own room. I had a hands-free sink in there. It was pretty, you know, I kind of used the health department checklist, even though it wasn't legal for me to do so.
Right.
And I used it and made my studio top notch. You know, basically the studio now, the big studio, is just an extension of what I had here in the house.
Right. So you kind of took it uber seriously, even
Right.
though it was illegal for you to work from home. It was still probably better than some of the tattoo shops that I've walked into.
I would
Awesome.
think so. Yeah. And then lo and behold, one day I got a phone call from Byron at the Washoe County Health Department, and someone had turned me in. One of the competition, they had turned me in. So, but it was good, because to me it was like, okay, well, if competition is turning me in, that means I'm doing something okay.
They're watching you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just propelled. I always had the idea to start Mark Studios, just went a lot faster because of that. And
well, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I mean, I always talk about, competition in my world where I kind of embrace the community.
Sure.
Are you guys doing that in the tattoo world? I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I don't have a vibe on it. I've just been stuck. I've stuck with Chris forever. We have pieces that we haven't finished yet. We're working on pieces, and that's kind of how it kept going. And he's a good buddy of mine. Right. But I haven't really ventured to anybody else just because I haven't. But I don't know how your guys' community works. Are people for each other?
I don't know. It's pretty dicey. It's hard to, because I came and kind of splashed on the scene new, they didn't really care for me because I wasn't in the industry, Right.
You weren't apprenticing at shops and everything before.
Right. And so I understood and stepped on toes, but I tried my best to really just keep it cool with everybody and go above and beyond, even trying to olive branch it out, but it's hard because they look at me and they say I shouldn't be in it. It's not fair. I've had so many rumors and things flung at me about, I'm a trust fund, just threats and things that I'm like, none of you guys even know me, for one. And, it's like, I sent out a letter prior to me opening, just to like, here, this is my plan. I don't plan on stepping on people's toes. It's, I'm not going to do walk-ins. I'm not going to take that business away from you. Right. And it was met kind of half and half. Other people thought I was a douche, and some people thought it was pretty cool that I even sent the letter.
Right.
But nobody even called.
Scared.
Yeah. So, but nobody even called me to get, the story. I'm an open book, man. If you want to ask me, how I got into the industry, that's fine, but I wasn't riding on a mountain of cash. And that was kind of the rumor, that there was just this huge, I just came from all this money.
Right. And you could do whatever you want. So you just built the studio based off of, and you didn't have that hustle, or you didn't have to work up for it.
Yeah. They don't, they don't know the backstory of me selling absolutely everything I owned, even my 1970 fastback Mustang to get the studio started. I sold everything I owned. And
well, then I'm glad we're doing this, because I don't know too much about that. I didn't know how much money you had or not. What I do know is that you're uber generous. I think I posted a few years back, I posted something on Facebook, and I wasn't really looking for like a free anything, but I was like, hey, does anybody have any like hookups to like the Atlantis for the weekend or something? And you were like, yeah, I got a hookup. And I was like, oh, cool. And then it turns out that you ended up just paying for our room for 2 nights, which I was like, holy shit. Like, thank you. That's not what I was asking for. We took it, but like, I was like, who does that? Like, I do that for people. I think people will go online and, you will be like, we need money for food or whatever. And I'll just send them on Facebook. I'm like, here's $50. Good luck.
Right.
Nobody does that shit anymore. So that you kind of, that's always reminded me of you at that point. Now, you opened up Mark Studio 7 years ago. Hopefully everybody's kind of chilled and calmed down a little bit, and they kind of know that you're here to stay. Because 7 years is a long time.
Sure.
How is your shop different, or what have you done differently that you feel your shop kind of stands out for?
Well, from the inside, I'll explain that all of my artists are on payroll, and as poo-pooed as that is in the tattoo industry right now, specifically, it is proving to be one of the greatest things that's ever been set up. All of my artists right now are at home collecting unemployment, and they're fully legit because they had everything, all their paperwork to be able to submit without having to wait. Yeah. Like you know, the gig work, unemployment is just, it's non-existent right now.
We get nothing. Right.
So they're in a great position to be able to like realize why I set it up with like that. So, you know, four of my artists have purchased homes under working at Mark Studios with their own payroll, with their own pay stubs.
Right.
So I really tried to set it up where they had a legitimate career, could show a legitimate income, and still be recognized by banks and lending institutions and the state, really, when it comes down to being laid off or anything like that.
I mean, that's totally different than anything I know. I mean, within your guys' industry, same with my wife's industry who does hair, it's always booth rental, right? It's always like you rent your spot, you get your stuff. So also, I mean, with that being said, your artists, I mean, are you paying for their ink, their supplies and all that stuff too?
Yeah.
Or are they paying for all that?
Yeah. Supplies are fully covered, everything. I wanted them to be able to do art, period. So they don't have to do their own scheduling. They don't have to order. It's just them being in their creative environment. So I tried to set it up as this incubator of, you know, this is what you do. And obviously you don't want to order. Obviously you don't want to schedule because that's not what you're good at. What you're good at is creativity. And
it's
if
the
you
artist world.
Yeah. If you can boil that down and concentrate it into like, man, I just get to go and tattoo and draw.
I mean, being self-employed, like I fantasize about that. I fantasize about somebody just hiring me for the day, or like, you know, Playboy calls me or something and, you know, for the articles. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I just want to go in and shoot every day. You guys do everything else. Just tell me where I need to be and then just pay me, you know, oh, my camera broke, pay for my camera. Like what, like that's awesome. But on the self-employed side, do your artists feel like they're making as much as they could? Or, I mean, they bought houses, which means they're making some money.
Right.
I mean, are they comfortable with that? And are they staying for the long haul?
They seem to be. I mean, I've got people that have been with me for 7 years, and I have others that have come on newer that have never made this kind of money before. So I've got one guy who now I just moved him into my general manager spot, Mark Moots.
Right. You have a general manager.
Yeah. Because I need somebody. One other thing that people don't know about me is I own another business called Cube Services. And that's kind of how I got
services.
We do printing for the live entertainment industry, and that. So we do backstage passes, security credentials, football field passes, parking passes, things like that. That's my bread and butter. You know, that's we have 44 employees there, and that is kind of, you know, obviously that industry got hit the fastest, the hardest.
Right.
You know, that industry just shut its door immediately. So that was really difficult. But so I needed somebody at the studio to be my voice, my eyes, my ears, my person while I'm not.
That's a good business owner because ultimately, I mean, I'm self-employed, so I only own myself. So I'm managing myself, but like, I just can't imagine managing other people. That's like the reason that I'm self-employed. So having somebody in charge and be like, you know, you're my voice, and you know, if something happens or comes down to it, he can always, you know, and then customers come in mad. He's like, yeah, talk to my general manager. He'll figure it out. He'll make it right. You're tattooing as well on top of all this, or how's that going?
Yeah. I was tattooing at the time. I was tattooing Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. When we get back open, I'm going to have to be probably 6 solid days a week to get caught up from the people that I had to skip over.
Right. And people know, like, you know, I had a couple appointments set up and I'm itching now. We're working on a chest piece and like, it's not done. So I'm just trying not to, but it hurts. We're getting up to here now and I don't know what I want to do with my life.
No, they've been so gracious. The customers have just been so understanding and
cool.
And get it. It's been really cool.
That's ultimately, I mean, that's a sign of a good business. I mean, so let me ask you about your guys' clientele. I mean, for some reason, I don't know why, I feel like your clientele is more of the doctors, the lawyers, people that I wouldn't assume get tattoos. And I don't know if that's just because of the way your studio's built or the cleanliness of it, or that it's not on wells. I mean, and your clients, I'm sure that you were just kind of booked and then you get to push it out to your people, but who are the people that are coming in? Is it just anybody?
Yeah. I mean, it seems to be all over the board, but it's funny because artists get the people that they most attract. So I myself get moms and dads and business owners and and so then there's like Mark Moots. He specializes in that dart. He's in a metal band, and so he attracts that crowd. And Kenny is just more. I don't know. He gets the more younger crowd, but that want big pieces. But they're all sophisticated people, and
so they get who they get. And yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, you want to obviously. I mean, I always feel like tattoo is very personal. We're in a space for hours at a time. I go for 3-hour gaps. I've done 8-hour gaps and I hated it. But like, you're sitting there talking, you learn everything you can, which you build this personal relationship with them. Does your staff, your artists, are they still trying to pull in clients, or is that more your job since they're on salary or since they're on hourly?
Well, they have their own Instagram accounts, which always attract people to them. But I think, as far as I was concerned, if I'm going to give commission the way I give commission and cover a studio, then these people kind of rely on me to make sure that the studio is popular. So, I looked at it like, if an artist screws up, if they don't go to the artist and say you screwed up, they go to the studio. And or if they want to write a bad review, you're one of those guys too that we have this love-hate relationship with Yelp.
I hate them.
They don't bash on the artist, they bash on the studio itself. So to me, I kind of have to field that, but also be on the forefront to make sure that I'm feeding these artists, that I'm feeding people. And during this time, I can't even tell you how many messages I've gotten just from being on social media and trying to kind of fight for the tattoo industry to be in the first phase openings. I'm fielding hundreds of messages that say, I can't wait for you guys to be open. When are you taking appointments?
Right. But I'm even looking at those comments and I see the other people on the other side. Right. And so I get this too, where I will post something where I think I am completely right. I'm doing right by everybody. And then you'll get somebody that comes on and just kind of kills it for you. And then you have to kind of field them as well. And I'm seeing that in your comments, and you're doing a very good job. You're very, you're very PC, but you're very smart at what you type. And I'm not like that at all. I'm very emotional, and I'm like, you are an idiot. Like, I know, don't act like I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think you posted something where, these people need to be open, and somebody goes, well, you're not essential. This person's essential. Why are you need to be open? Yeah. And I mean, do you feel like other tattoo artists are on your side, or are they at least going like, dude, this guy's working for us to get us going? Do you have that support?
Yeah, I think there definitely is a few. I would say total, there's probably 5 artists in town that are like, obviously I'd love the majority of them to kind of get on this bandwagon to get us open. But if I can do the legwork and get the industry open, those people that come on and sort of poo-poo everything that's a push to be good, I call them yeah-buts. Because you say something good and there's always got to be one person that says, but. And so I just try to answer them. Look, you're not going to get me to break down. You're not going to get me to start fighting with you. I want to in my heart, it's just like, I want to tear you apart with, on social media, but I know that just ends up really bad all the time.
It's exhausting talking to those people.
Oh man. But I want to, engage with them on a level that at least shows my side and understands their side as well. I get what they're saying. There's people that are afraid, and nobody's saying, if you want to stay home, nobody's saying. I'm telling that to my people. Look, if you're afraid of this situation, then by all means stay home until you feel safe.
Right.
But don't dictate that to other people who just it has zero really for me, because I've got the PPP and I got the grant money for the studio. Nice. It has zero to do with money. Nothing. I just want a tattoo. I really do. It's my creative outlet. I love doing it. And even if I didn't get paid, I would still do it, So there's a balance. I get it that this is a real virus. This is a real thing. People are real scared. And
but yeah, on the other point, we have to get back to work. We have to get back to some sort of normalcy. And it's, no matter when we get back, there's going to be rules, there's going to be regulations, there's going to be change.
Sure.
But why not let's get that process started? Let's get in the studio. I mean, I'm frustrated because my wife does hair. I mean, she's basically in you guys' boat where you guys are, you have a client at a time. It's an appointment based. You guys can limit how many people come in, but you're face to face. Are we wearing masks? Are we doing temperature checks? But it has to be done sometime. And so why not get it started? How come you guys can't be open, but I can go to Safeway and have 40 people around me without wearing masks, right? I mean, where's the legitimacy in that? And that's a frustrating part.
Yeah, we're not essential. We're, nobody needs a tattoo.
Nobody needs
it, but I guess that's my fight. I'm writing letters to the governor, to the mayor, to the city officials that say, I can control my environment far more than Safeway can.
Exactly.
I can control my environment. Even though I'm face to face with somebody, I can wear a mask, I can do my things and keep things so limited. And I had someone argue with me about that salons would be the worst place to go. Well, I've talked to other salon owners. They don't feel like that. Blow drying isn't going to be a thing. Everybody knows that you can't.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I think that people would be just fine with that. If I don't get my hair blow dried, I just have to go home and do it myself or whatever.
Right, even if they don't style it, they don't do whatever. I mean, like I said, there's ways around it. The cosmetology board is doing something right now to work through it. And it's totally doable. You can even just say, I'm only tattooing backs or legs, exactly. And then just like wrap them up from the top down and like, don't even look at their face ever. I'm just doing ass tattoos. So walk me through this. All right, we're back to work now. Are most of your clients newbies, or are you just seeing everybody that's pretty much gotten a tattoo that's just getting more tattoos at this point?
At this point, I'm pretty sure, well, for a long while, I'm going to say for the next 3 months, we're going to be seeing people that we're catching up on because of this 6-week break. So those are all just going to be veterans, we would call them.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other people, again, I'm the messages that I've received, people are just wanting in. I don't know if they have tattoos or don't. There's been a couple that say, I don't have a tattoo, but I'm coming in right when you guys open. So I love it. I love that, if anything at the end of this, we're going to be busier than ever anyway. So
I agree. I mean, and these people saying they're going to come in right when you open, you're like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time. So Mark, walk me through this process, because I feel like tattoo shops are one of those places that everybody does something different. Every shop that I've gone to, following Chris everywhere, it's always been something different. And before meeting Chris, going through other tattoo shops, it's always been different. Sure. Walk me through the process of your guys' shop. If I want to get a tattoo, whether I'm a veteran or a newbie, how does it work? Is it like those shows where I have to go in there and then come back 12 hours later for you to draw something? Or am I sending you a deposit and we meet before? So walk me through that.
Okay. We're in a kind of a unique position. We're appointment only. Mm-hmm. So we hardly take walk-ins. So we always try to direct people to the website. If you go to the website, we have a contact form they can fill out, and then that brings their information into the system, and they can attach photos and references in there.
Super tech-based, right?
Yeah. And then we can, from that point, the front office manager will take that paper and go back, and we match a style to the artist, which is a lot different than people, we don't have portfolios sitting out front.
Right.
We want to, because there's a lot of people, and it's not ignorance for sure. It's more like, well, if he does good portraits, he's obviously going to do great at lettering. And I'm like,
no, it's finding your niche. Like I know what I can shoot and I know what I can't shoot. Like people can't assume that I can do everything, even though if I tell them I can fake it. But like, who wants to fake a tattoo?
Right. So we match that person with the style that they want. If they want an old school traditional tattoo, we have a guy that does that. And obviously I'm not going to do it. And, not that I can't, but if you want the best, then this is the guy in our studio that does American traditional. So from that point, they go around and, is this a piece that you want to take? And then we schedule a consultation. And then from that point, that's when we take the deposit in, and we get that person scheduled. But we hardly ever do a drawing at the day, if someone comes in.
And I every time I see that, and I haven't watched these shows in a long time. I don't have like regular cable anymore, but I remember watching like the Miami tattoo show, Kat Von D, all that stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I'm going to walk in, bro. Here's my thing. And then they're like, yeah, come back in 4 hours. And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do for 4 hours? And like, and so what I liked, and, and that's how my tattoo artist does it, is we come up with a concept, draws it up, deposit, and then I know what I'm doing rather than go the day of. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And he shows me the drawing, and I'm like, oh no, that's not what I want. Like, do I have to sit here, or do I come back? So I like that. I like that process. Also, it gives me a chance to think and answer those questions for those people that are like, like, what if I don't like the drawing? What if I don't like the tattoo? What if I, and then, or what if I even don't want a tattoo? Or it's like a spur of the moment kind of thing. This kind of takes that away from them a little bit. Do you guys charge, and you definitely don't have to talk about rates if you don't want to. Are you guys an hourly or like a flat rate per tattoo?
Okay, so this is also unique. It's pretty cool. So all of the power supplies that we use have a runtime meter. So we actually charge by needle time. We call it needle time because that's what it's called on the power supply. So when the machine is running, when we're actually tattooing, the clock is on.
Oh.
But when we shut the machine off, you're not being charged. So
if somebody went to the bathroom or started walking around or fiddling around.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I've always thought it was the fair system. I mean, I'm not knocking on flat rates or anything like that. Right. Some people charge chair time. But I think it all balances out in the end. If you charge $120 an hour chair time the minute you sit down, then we're probably going to be about the same depending on my efficiency. But it's because we charge anywhere from $200 to $250 an hour. And some people go like, wow.
And that's needle time hour.
Right.
Okay.
So by the time, if I do a 6-hour session, I'll be lucky if I bill out 5 hours of that.
Right.
Mostly about 4.5 hours would be billed out. But
because there's setup time, there's changing, there's wiping, there's a phone call, there's whatever. Bathroom for me or you.
Sure. Lunch, because I do full day sessions. I'm the guy that'll do that 7-hour session with somebody. And, we got a break for lunch because I've seen too many people like, no, I'm not hungry. And then they end up passing at the end. And it's just it's
just smart. Yeah. I mean, I've done it, I've gone through it. And after a while, I'm just like, the tattoo's done. I'm like, cool. But I'm at the point in my life where I just want to keep going. I just like, I'm getting a tattoo just to get a tattoo. Like, if people are like, what does this mean? Like, what does this mean? I'm like, it means nothing. Like, I like skeletons. I like skulls. So I just want to put it on my body. And that's what's going to happen.
Sure.
I do like the needle time. I think that's unique. I think it's fair, but also I think as a business owner, having other artists, it's a way that it'll help them because somebody goes, no, bro, he only did it for like 30 minutes. And you're like, well, we're actually tracking the needle time. It was an hour that he was doing it. So I think you have to have something like that because so many people will argue with small businesses for even littler stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's
that's amazing.
Weird. People, we charge, if someone goes up and it's like an hour and 6 minutes, it's like, really, you charge me 6 minutes? Well, yeah, it's just
a ratio. I mean, it's a pro rate. Yeah.
So it's, but if I go long, if I have like 5 hours and 36 minutes, I usually go to 5:15 or 5.5. It's all relative on the length because I don't want people with too much sticker shock for sure.
Right. But that's also you're allowed to do that because it's, you never want to charge people more than what it is. But like, if you're like, hey, I'm going to hook you up with an hour or 30 minutes, that's up to you individually. Like, I'll do it all the time. So people like hook you up with $50 off or free digital or something.
Right.
But it's not a given. You're not going to get it every single time.
Right.
I like this. So how many, you have 4 artists including plus yourself in the shop right now?
No, 8 with
you have
me.
8?
Yeah.
Is there room in there for 8?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
So remember where Chris was back in the corner?
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3 on that side, 1, 2, 3 on the other side, and then 2 in the middle.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So is your shop open 7 days a week?
No, just 5 days, Tuesday through
5 days.
Saturday.
Okay, cool.
Or
And then
that's
they all
6
kind
days.
of work
No.
throughout that time.
5 days. I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah. Today is. Let's say Wednesday. No, today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm getting showered is to film these podcasts.
Yeah.
So
I'm on my 4-day stretch. So today was the 4th day, which is a good thing for you.
Yeah. It's we're all gonna make it. I know. I was joking with somebody yesterday. I'm like, when we're allowed to actually start shooting again and doing whatever, I don't even know if I can use the camera. I don't know. Like, I'm freaking out. Like, how am I supposed to even like pose somebody? Go through everything that we've done. I do want to say that you had Chris Holloman shoot your. Oh God, was it your commercial and your stills, or was it just your stills?
No, he did the
right. He did the shooting
yeah.
up, right? And because I see that in your guys' commercial when I go to the movies.
Right.
And I don't know if I haven't been in the movies in a while because we have a 2-year-old. Also, we're not allowed to. But I always thought that was unique, and I've always wanted to ask. And I see him all the time, but I've never asked him. We shoot a lot of common companies together. How did that shoot come about? How did that concept come about?
I'm always one to. I always look at something and go, how can it be different? Whenever any tattooer is photoed or does a promo shot, it's always from over here. I'm
Side.
like this, side here like this. I just wanted it. I told him, try to come up with something that's completely you wouldn't think of. Right. And then all of a sudden I was driving down the street one day and I was like, from the skin perspective, and just in my head, I was like, I called him. I said, Chris, what do you think about this? What if we were taking a shot like as it was like if the camera was the skin?
Right.
And so then we collaborated. He's like, man, I could do a piece of glass.
Yeah.
And we could go from underneath. And I'm like, that's perfect.
I loved it. That's what I thought. And that's what you guys did, right? It was a piece of glass. He kind of shot up while it looked like you guys were tattooing the glass, but in reality, it was that perspective of it. And I just thought that was super unique. It's one of those things that pissed me off because I was like, holy shit. Like, if I ever did something like that, it's because they've done it and I know it. But I've seen shots of, like people under aquariums shoot through water and then the bride and groom's up top standing in the aquarium.
Oh yeah.
So I've seen stuff like that, but I'm like, oh my God, like, so I'm going to use it one day and it's just going to happen. And I'm just going to give you guys full credit.
No, that's awesome. I loved it. I thought it was the greatest. Still to this day, I think it's one of the most unique tattoo promo shots ever.
I think it's a great promo shot, tattoo or not. I think a lot of companies will start using stuff like that.
Right.
But that's what photography is about. And, I always like two artists come together because I know Chris's mind and I've seen what you can do even with just your tattoos when you're posting them. So I'm like, of course they came up with it. And I'm glad you used him because I'm sitting there like, I don't know if I would have come up with that and it would have been a lost start. So we have a couple more minutes here. What's to expect when the shop opens? I know that you said the 6 weeks off will render you about three months of behind work. Yeah. Is there still a possibility that people can still start booking earlier through your other 8 artists, or were you talking specifically about just your time?
Just myself. I mean, there's other artists that have gone past, and they'll have some makeup to do. I mean, obviously, there's some that are going to be a month just trying to catch up. It's going to be a bit for new people, but usually the customers that come to our studio, they're used to waiting at least a month before they can even get in anyway. Good. So I see the difference being, obviously we can't have people with their guests there. We have to keep it under, we might even have to, because ultimately if we filled the shop, that would be 16 people in the back plus 2 up front.
Right. You might have to even do 4 stations a day rather than the 8.
Yeah. So we can keep it under the 10 and not over, not tax the airflow and all of that stuff. Which is fine. Everybody's talking about doing kind of split shifts and knocking things out like that. Masks are obviously going to be a thing. It's going to look
which is easy enough.
Yeah. And we're going to supply them. I got masks coming now. If people don't have them, we'll supply them with the regular surgical masks. But yeah, it's going to look different for everybody for quite some time. And
Would you suggest people, I mean, are you guys booking at this point? Are you creating the art now? Would you suggest anybody that's interested in getting tattooed go on your website now and then just fill out the form?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
That's all the messages that I've gotten. That's just go and fill out the form. We'll get a hold of you and start booking consultations. Because if we can start talking about it beforehand, then you can, see like, okay, it's going to be 2 months out. I'm fine with that, and go from there.
Dude, I love that. All right, I'm going to give you a good minute or two here, and I want you just to pimp yourself out, your business, anything that you want. Tell people where to find you, how to find you. Your Facebook page, I tagged you on this, but you have a crap ton of likes on there, way more than I do. So I think you're doing well in there. But let's tell people how to find you, how to get a hold of you. Go for it.
Okay. It's Mark Studios. We're at 945 West Moana. The phone number is 775-209-1612. The web address is www.markedstudios.com. And up in the right-hand corner, there's a Get Started Here button, and that will give you the form where you can give us specifics. If you have an artist in mind, you can put that there as well. You can attach references. We also on there, we ask that you don't reference other people's tattoos, but more pictures and art that you want to see, rather than trying to duplicate other people's tattoos. Other than that, you can get a hold of us on Facebook, which is just Mark Studios or Tattoo. I believe it's at Tattoo Redefined, but Mark Studios comes up on Facebook. Okay. The Instagram page is at Mark Studios, and Twitter, and what else? You can message us. Yeah, we have a LinkedIn page. I mean, we have a TikTok page that I've never used.
I was gonna ask about TikTok. Get on TikTok, man. Use it.
I've heard it. I just I got to get my other people to get on there.
Actually, that might work if they all do a TikTok every day. There's like groups. Just watching the videos on TikTok. You guys can get a good following on there.
Yeah. Fun. But it's, we'll always answer every message. Usually we try to, again, just direct people right to the website. It's just
exactly what I do. Yeah.
And we have all your information, and it's really kind of foolproof. So it works out really well.
So I think everything's fair. I mean, I love the tech side of it. I love that you're doing all that, getting all the information that they need, which also means that the cleaning process is going to be easier too, on how you guys send them out and send them home. Because that's always been a big thing for me. Chris has a really good way of doing it now that I like. But I remember every tattoo shop was something different. And then I'm like, well, no, my tattoo artist said this. My tattoo artist said this. And I'm like, maybe I have just really good skin and I can do whatever I want. So, I love that process beginning to end. Your shop is beautiful. I mean, your theme color is purple. So I feel it's just a very comfortable shop to go to. Not to knock anybody else's shops, but like I'm business minded. So like when I go to a place and it's business friendly, when I go into like a Tesla or an Apple or something, I like that feel of it rather than buying, my iPhone at the back of somebody's truck. It could be the same product, but that's how we have to think of it.
Sure.
Is there anything else you want to tell Facebook world before we get off live?
Yes. I want to say to you, thank you for doing this. I love it when people are utilizing this time creatively, and really it helps me out. It helps my artists out. And I appreciate you doing it. And that's why I want to
thank you, man.
Get up here and I appreciate you for thinking of the community, thinking of other businesses while we're down.
Totally. Yeah. Anything I can do to help. I mean, that's really it. Also self-serving. I'm going to end up getting you on here maybe later on once we're open in a few weeks to talk to you, because I'm actually really interested in how you came about, where you're from, and all that stuff.
Perfect.
But it's my self-serving way of getting to know people, because I feel like I know people on social media. People know about my life, but I have no idea about them because I'm so all about talking about myself all the time.
Right.
And so, the best sounding word to anybody's ear is the sound of their own name being said. And I love hearing my name being said. So I always talk about myself, and I need to start change that as I get older in life. Awesome. All right. We're going to say bye to Facebook, but stay on the line for me. So bye, Facebook.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much, dude. That was awesome. It was super informative, and I had a ton of people come on and off. So you're more than welcome to share this everywhere, and then We'll get it on the podcast in the next couple weeks or so. I'm slowly kind of staggering them out. But dude, good job on like life and everything. I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's been I don't know. I keep answering people like, I don't know how both of my businesses got funded. I don't know.
Don't be apologetic about that. I mean, like, I'm on the second round now. I've submitted to like 50 different vendors, so hopefully I'll get something. But it's who'd you go through?
Well, the first one, the EIDL, I just went through SBA,
right?
But I heard nothing, and then all of a sudden one Monday morning, boom, 10 grand shows up as the grant.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay. And then for the big one, like this, I wouldn't tell anybody else this, but we got 600,000 with for Cube for the PPP program, and that was a lifesaver. But that was Heritage Bank, and they were on
Heritage is doing things like that's what I kept hearing. Everybody's saying Heritage.
Dude, I'm telling you, I asked him because I'm like, how was it distributed, and how was it that little old me in Reno, Nevada, got this much money immediately within 7 days? And he said it was all about bank preparedness. And I think I described it in someone's, that it was like dropped like a food drop from a helicopter. And whatever banks were prepared with their paperwork and watching as it ticked and ran the fastest.
Right.
So 1,000 banks got the money while 10,000 others were just like crap. Right. And anybody who banked with Wells Fargo was screwed from the get-go, because that fraud that happened years ago with them making up false.
Right. And then they're back in the news for some sort of fraud too with everything here.
Right. So they got kind of screwed because the feds already limited their loan amounts. So they didn't even have the money anyway. But our bank, little old Heritage Bank, was like every hour they had just someone sitting at a computer waiting for updates, all hours of the night. And then all of a sudden when it came, submitted paperwork, and they were in. Amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, good job on that. Yeah. Well, I'll admit that amount of money from the podcast, but I mean, I think I'm just, asking, I would think I was asking for like 20,000. I think that was a max because on the PPP, I'm my only person. So I think my max was 20,000 or something, 21,000. So that's what I'm going for. And, so far PayPal, Lendio, they're pushing through. So they can only submit, I think like they said, a 300 an hour. So they're just pushing through 300 an hour as much as they can. So just checking emails, waiting. Yeah.
At Cube, there's 44 people that relied on, because we were going to have to lay people off unless that came through. And so being able to keep people on payroll for the next 2 months, that's
what it's made for, right? Yeah. So, I mean, 44 employees is awesome but when we're competing against 500 or less, when they put that number out, I'm like 500 or less. Like I know tons of big companies that have 500 or less.
Yep.
Like that's they should have done it like 100 or less or something.
Yeah. Well, Mark Cuban was on the news, and I really liked his idea. He was like, the way we distributed money was just stupid. It's asinine. And because we caused that race to get it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, if I was president, which I'm not, but if I was president, I would just give every business overdraft protection and then filter out unnecessary spending at the end and make it into
they have to prove what they had to do, and then.
But if it was just for payroll and expenses, I mean, it made so much sense to me. And I don't know, if he's a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy, but
he's legit. Smart. Yeah, I mean, he's Shark Tank and Mavericks and all that. But I mean, I think. He's a smart guy. Every time I see him in anything, they're smart and definitely outspoken, but he's allowed to be. But I think he's on, I thought he was on like the Trump Council or something too recently. Council together.
Ed McMahon or whatever. Okay,
WWE. It's so weird though, how just nobody thought this through. And then, with unemployment and everything, it's just frustrating. I'm just like, how is this not happening right now?
Yeah. And of course we always want to say in the middle of I would have done it like this and I would have done it like that. And it's hard to know, but man, from the beginning, I was like, dude, this was shut down so backwards. Mm-hmm. It should have been, hey, banks and lenders and mortgages and landlords and everybody, you got to give a reprieve because we're about to tell everybody they can't go back to work.
Right.
But instead, we just said nobody can go back to work.
And then here's what we're going to try to do.
Yeah. And then we're freaking out about rent, you know, and I was on the kind of like, hey, wait a minute. Cause landlords were already on the button trying to scrape people like, hey, I know you
Right.
just got laid off, but I don't care.
Right.
I need my money. And I get that too. Like that's how they made their money. But if they went from the top and lenders were able to be like, look, we're going to give everybody the bubble.
Yeah.
That way you can pass it down. It was just so backwards in my eyes, but
I agree. I agree. Yeah. And I mean, I'm paying my mortgage and all that. They don't give a shit. So, luckily I don't have a studio anymore to pay for, which is nice. But adding all those together, because I don't even know how it works, but we'll make it through, man.
I will. You too. Thank you again.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. All right. Well, you guys enjoy your day. Tell your wife it was nice to meet her. But yeah, if you need anything, dude, just let me know. I'm here, and I'm happy to push out anything you need to push out.
Right on. Thanks, Jeramie.
Awesome, buddy. All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Later.
Bye.